on, at. I know you're confused. Let me make them really easy for you, and I promise you will never get them confused again. Now, this is the most common mistake I hear with the word at. Even my advanced learners say this. Here are the most common uses of in, on, and at, and how to remember them. In. Put it in the bin. No, not on the bin. Not on the bin. In the bin. We use in mostly to talk about things or people being inside an enclosed space. When we close the lid of the bin, it is enclosed. Something is in the bin. Ah, get me out.
You want to sit in the box?
No.
You can use this for rooms as well, because when you close the door, you are in an enclosed space, 4 walls. Like a mime. I feel a bit like a mime today, actually. Maybe I shouldn't be an English teacher. Maybe I should be a mime. So, I am in my room. The rubbish is in the bin. Now, I know what you're thinking. When do we use inside? What's the difference between in and inside? Well, let me tell you. In is much more general. We use it 90% of the time. However, if for some reason you really want to emphasize that something is in an enclosed area, and it's very important that you emphasize the position of the thing, you might want to use inside. For example, hi, I'm here. It's freezing. Can I wait for you inside? So in this example, it's important that you emphasize to your friend that you are waiting inside of the building rather than outside the building. Let's look at some more uses of in. I live in England, but hold on a second. England isn't an enclosed area. So for this one, I want you to use your imagination a little bit. Sometimes remembering grammar rules involves you making an image in your head. So with countries, I want you to imagine that every single country has a big wall around it, okay? Much like a certain president wanted at one point. So imagine there is a big wall, tall wall around every country. So when you are in that country, you are in an enclosed space, okay? Try to keep that image in your head. Imagine those walls around England. So when you are in England, you are in an enclosed space. Just trust me on that one. Pictures and mirrors normally have frames, okay? So you are in the mirror, in the frame. So when I look at myself, oh, I am looking at myself in the mirror because I am inside this frame.
I stare at my reflection in the mirror.
The same with a picture. You can say the woman is in the picture, because if you imagine there is a big frame around her, so she is in that enclosed area of the frame. So with pictures and mirrors, we say in. We can use in for a state or a condition. For example, I am in a bad mood. So with this one, if you are talking about a mood or a condition, I want you to imagine that it surrounds you. If you are in a bad mood, the bad mood is around you like a big cloud. It is enclosing your soul. It's trapping your soul. I am in a bad mood. I am in it. And I have to escape out of it if I want to get rid of my bad mood. Now, of course, the hardest one to remember is in the morning, at night, in the afternoon. What do I say? So for this one, I'm going to use this great TikToker. I will link all of her social media and everything down below, but she uses this great technique when she teaches, and she always says in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. Like she kind of drops that one at the end. So if you can remember, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. Physically do that with your fingers. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. Okay, that is your technique for remembering those tricky prepositions during the day. And finally, for in, let's look at books, TV shows, and movies. Now, similarly with other uses of in, I want you to imagine that characters and stories are trapped in the book. Like if I have a book here, I open it up, here's a character, and I close the book and I trap them in. Same with a TV show. I look and they are trapped in the TV. Or in a film, they are trapped in the film. So you would say something like, oh, in this book, there is a huge love story, or she plays a really interesting character in that film. Okay, so we use in with films, TV shows, and books. Now, before we move on to on, let's just talk about why we say in the car, but on the train. So generally, if it is public transport, we say on. So if it is something that you might take with other people, plane, train, bus, tram, we say on. But if it is a car, a van, a truck, a taxi, anything that's a vehicle, we say in. So I'm getting in the taxi, I'm getting in the van, but you say I'm getting on the train, on the bus, on the plane. Okay, moving on to some uses of on. So in general, on is used for when something is in contact with a surface. On the table, on the chair, on the floor. Now this is where it gets confusing. For days of the week, we say on Monday. Now how do you remember this? Okay, picture a calendar on the floor. There's a big calendar, like a mat on the floor. And if you want to move to the next day, you step onto it. Like I'm stood on a calendar. So when it's Tuesday, I move and I am stood on Tuesday. I am not in Tuesday, I am on it. I'm stood on top of it, okay? Try to keep picturing these images. That is how your brain will retain the information if it has an image to connect it to. So picture that calendar on the floor and you will be absolutely fine. Hey, I want those papers on my desk on Monday. We also use on for explaining the position of something on a street. So think of a Monopoly board, okay? When you get your little house, you put it on the street, don't you? You put it on the street. So I live in a lovely house on a long street. Hey, I want those papers on my desk on Monday, or you'll be working on the street. Now, whenever you are using the internet, an app, something online, we use on, okay? So I am on Twitter, I am looking on Google, I am watching something on YouTube, okay? So think of the internet on, online. That's the way to remember it.
I saw it on the internet. You are a psychic.
Hey, I want those papers on my desk on Monday, or you'll be working on the street. Don't let me see you on TikTok during working hours. Now it's time for at. Let's meet the at cat.
Laura, this is ridiculous.
What?
Why am I dressed like a cat?
Well,
Will this help anyone remember how to use at?
I think it can't hurt.
But I look silly.
Just try it.
Okay, but I'm not doing anything humiliating or embarrassing.
No, of course not.
Hello, dear friends, I'm the at cat. I have a lot of things to say about that. I'm a furry little kitty. No, I'm not doing it, Laura. I'm not doing it. I look ridiculous. I'm a professional.
Oh, fine, we'll teach it the old-fashioned way. So first of all, let's talk about the difference between at and in. If you want to describe the general location of where something or someone is, you should use at. For example, Mary is at school. However, if you want to emphasize that Mary is inside the building, then you could say Mary is in the school. For example, I come to pick up my child Mary and I'm waiting in the outside playground and I say, where's Mary? And the teacher says, oh, Mary is in the school. She's just finishing some work. But if I'm at home, I might say, oh, my child Mary is at school. That's the general location of where she is. She's at school. So for big places where there are multiples of them, like schools, churches, work, we use at, okay? So at church, at work. Remember it this way. She is in the hospital. That emphasizes that she is enclosed. She is being treated. She can't leave because they are treating her, okay? So she is in the hospital. It's very sad. She's having an operation. However, she is at the hospital doesn't say that she's enclosed in. She might be visiting, she might be working, she might be visiting to sing some songs to the patients. She's at the hospital, but she can leave. So think of it that way. We would also use at for a specific event or an occasion, like I am at a party or I was at a wedding. You are not trapped inside these occasions. You can leave. So I am at the wedding. I am at the party. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We also use at for specific times on the clock. I will meet you at 3. I will see you at 9 p.m. We also say at noon, at midday, at midnight, because even though that is not a number, we're not saying 3 or 4, they are still kind of on the clock. So at midnight is 12. So it's the same as saying at 12 p.m. We've just made a new word for it. If this helps you, picture those cat clock thingies. You know the cat clock? And their tail goes like this. So think of the at cat on the clock. Cat at 9, at 10. That might work for you. If you are not a visual learner, don't worry about it. But if you are, that might help. Now, this is the most common mistake I hear with the word at. Even my advanced learners say this. So we are good at something. We are not good in something. So I am good at sports. She is bad at maths. I am brilliant at tennis. That's a lie. I am not brilliant at tennis, but we are good at, bad at. Remember that. Drill that into your brains, because that's one of the little mistakes that can make your level drop down a little bit. So what have we learned today? Images are extremely useful. If you are struggling to remember these grammar rules, maybe it's in, on, at, maybe it's phrasal verbs, maybe it's a particular adjective, make an image. Try to put visual images to that, however silly that might be. It might be completely specific to you, an image that no one else would understand, but if it works for you, that is all that matters, okay? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you would like to follow us on Instagram, you can do so there. And if you want a one-to-one online English lesson with me or Bez, the link for that is down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Ta-ta!